What's up, everyone? Mike Morrison here from the Membership Guys. Just doing my second ever Facebook Live. Thought that basically because we published a blog post this week where we're talking about the sort of questions that you might want to ask your membership plugin developer before you part with your hard-earned money and buy a membership plugin or membership software platform. We create a blog post looking at 8 questions that you should be asking, and that kind of just inspired me based on feedback to put together this live session, come on and chat a little bit about how you actually go about deciding and figuring out which membership plugin you should be using. Because the thing is, once you are actually locked into a membership plugin, once you're using it, it can be really, really difficult to switch to a different system. You know, this is mainly because of recurring payments and how they work. And what will often happen is if you are using a membership system and you have people paying you a recurring subscription, if you then try to switch membership plugin, because of what happens under the hood, then those subscriptions then, you know, on the old system don't automatically just move over to the new system. And that can make moving from one membership plugin to another a complete nightmare. In some cases, it's just not possible to do. We have a lot of times this comes up in our Facebook group at talkmemberships.com or within our own membership site, membersiteacademy.com, where people are encountering this situation, and actually the easiest thing to do is just to ask your members to sign up all over again. Now, considering that that's not exactly a great choice, that should demonstrate just how painful it can be and how technically challenging it can be to move from one system to another once you've actually got paying members in place. So it's really important to make a good decision first, and to make sure that you're doing all your necessary research and due diligence and all that sort of stuff before you buy a membership plugin, just to avoid the headaches and the hassles that can come from needing or wanting to move to a different plugin later on. The first thing I would recommend, since we are on Facebook, we're broadcasting into our membership mastermind Facebook group, talkmemberships.com, then the first thing I'd recommend is to avoid asking for recommendations for the best membership plugin, especially in Facebook groups. We see this all of the time, not just in our groups, but in so many other groups, where people will come in and just say, I'm starting a membership site, what plugin should I use? And of course, what happens then is the floodgates open and you get dozens and dozens of recommendations for different plugins. But the problem is, without actually understanding your specific needs, what you're trying to build with your membership, what email providers or payment providers you're using, then people really can't give you recommendations. So when people are suggesting which plugin you should use, they're usually suggesting their personal favorite plugin, or the plugin that they're using, the plugin that their web developer set up for them, maybe a plugin that they get an affiliate commission for, which happens quite a lot, or, you know, something that they've heard someone else say is a great plugin. And a lot of the time, the people making these recommendations, I'm sorry to say, just aren't qualified to make them, because maybe they've only ever used one plugin in their life, and so they have no real basis for making recommendations. A lot of the time, the people making the recommendations just aren't, they're not developers. They haven't really had any experience in setting stuff up. So when you just ask for a blanket recommendation in a Facebook group for people to tell you the best membership plugin out there, you're just asking to be confused, because chances are you maybe already know 2 or 3 plugins you could use. By the end of that wave of unqualified recommendations you're going to get when you ask the question in a Facebook group, suddenly you're trying to wrestle with 20 or 30 different plugins or platforms that have been recommended. So first thing to avoid, yes, certainly look to your network, look to your contacts. If you have any web designer or web developer friends, maybe ask for their input. But I would definitely say that if you want to avoid a lot of confusion and a lot of overwhelm and a lot of bad suggestions, don't just go into a Facebook group and pose the question, which membership plugin I should use. If you must, then provide as much detail as you can. Tell people what specifically you needed to do, what features you needed to have, what payment processes you needed to integrate with, what email marketing service you're using, because those two areas, payment processes and email marketing services, quite often they're the main point of difference between membership plugins. Mainly it comes down to what integrations the different membership plugins have that will decide what you actually go with. So if you do want to ask Facebook groups for recommendations, provide as much detail as you can, because then what will happen is the 5 to 10% of people who are giving their opinion, who have a wealth of technical knowledge or a wealth of experience, they'll be able to help you filter out some of the bad recommendations, because you'll actually find them, if somebody recommends something that really is just inappropriate, you'll find that some people will say, well, actually, sorry, they asked for something that does X, Y, and Z. What you've recommended doesn't do that. So again, if you must go with Facebook group recommendations, just provide as much detail as you can to enable people to better direct you to something that is actually going to work for you. This is something people get stuck on. It's something they get hung up on, and you can waste a lot of time going backwards and forwards on the different plugins and platforms and solutions that are out there. You just need to accept that there is no single best membership plugin. It doesn't exist. What is good for you might not be good for the next person. It all depends on the actual features that you need. It's kind of like asking, what's the best tool in your toolbox? Well, it entirely depends on what you're trying to build. So the first step you should really be taking if you're trying to find which membership plugin to use is to list out all of the features and functionality that you actually require from your membership solution. What do you need it to actually do? Do you need to be able to drip out content over time? If that's a requirement, then that can rule out certain membership plugins that just don't have that functionality. So grab a pen and paper, make a long list of all the features and functionality that you require from your ideal membership plugin. And then the key second step is to identify from those features which are essential, so which features you absolutely cannot live without, and which are nice to haves. Because you're going to need to compromise. Getting the right membership solution involves compromising on certain things, because you're not going to find a one-size-fits-all perfect solution that does absolutely everything you want in exactly the way you want it to. So by identifying the areas in which you can actually compromise on the membership plugin you go with, you're going to make things a lot easier. Once you've got that feature set, then what I'd actually recommend is we have a membership plugin comparison chart that literally takes the top 12 membership plugins that we've identified and then just compares them side by side for the features that they have. So if you've got your shopping list, if you've got your wish list of features and functionality, then comparing this to the membership plugin comparison chart, which you can download for free at themembershipguys.com/plugin-comparison. So that's themembershipguys.com/plugin-comparison. If you download that, then that's going to help you quickly narrow down the different options on the market to 2 or 3 that are the best fit. And again, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, that one of the key areas in which your choice of membership plugin is going to be based is the payment providers that your membership plugin supports and the email marketing service that you're using, because integrations and support across the different plugins differs greatly. So by looking at that, by using the comparison chart from the membershipguys.com/plugin-comparison, then you should be able to narrow down your choices to 2 or 3 that could work well for you. And this is where you really do your homework. Because once you've narrowed down those 2 or 3, the way to decide is to essentially put the support teams and the technical support teams of those plugins to the test. That's where you need to ask some probing questions. It's where you need to actually test the response time from these support teams. So put in a support ticket, post on the support forums, call up their support desk, essentially just test out their technical support, because great technical support with a plugin that maybe satisfies 70% of what you want to do is far better than a plugin that satisfies 90%, but their technical support is terrible. You'll undoubtedly come to a point somewhere in the life of your membership where you need to call on the plugin developers for a helping hand, to answer a question, to solve a bug. And so being able to test how good their support is, and whether they're just going to send you off to fend for yourself, or whether they're going to really roll up their sleeves and help you out, that's such a crucial thing for your membership. So that's going to be a big part of how you actually go from having those 2 or 3 good choices, good options for your membership, to narrow those down into the ones you're finally going to work with. And I talked at the beginning of this live video, for any of you guys who have come in a little further into the stream, that the inspiration for doing this video is because we published a blog post this week, which you can read at themembershipguys.com/plugin /membership-plugin-questions. And basically there we looked at 8 questions you should be asking your membership plugin developer. So things like, most membership plugins you're going to need to pay for to get a license. So you want to know, if you stop paying for that license, what happens to your membership? Will it continue to work? Will all of a sudden, does your website just lock up? Or does it just mean that you don't get access to support and updates? You need to find that out, because some membership plugins, what they will do when your license runs out, they'll basically lock up your entire site so people can't register, so you can't access any of your member data or anything like that. Now, obviously, that's a big deal. You need to know about that in advance. So you should be asking, before you buy your membership plugin, you should be asking questions like that. What's going to happen? You should be asking whether the code that your membership plugin is written in, whether any of that is encrypted, because that's going to have an effect on the technical requirements for the plugin and so on. So you need to, when you've narrowed down your plugin choices to 2 or 3 options, you need to probe a little deeper. You need to find out this sort of stuff, the sort of things that maybe right now aren't important to you, but long term for your membership are going to be crucial. How good is their support? What type of support do you get with your license? Can you just pick up the phone and call somebody? Do you have an account manager? Or is it just a forum or a discussion board where other licensees help each other out? So you need to know this stuff in order to have that peace of mind and have that knowledge that you're not going to be left on your own. You're not going to be left to fend for yourself or anything like that. So, really important to probe into that. And I definitely recommend checking out the membershipguys.com /membership-plugin-questions, because we've laid out 8 key questions that you should ask before purchasing your membership plugin. Things like asking about technical requirements, asking about what happens if you cancel or even just fail your license. Just imagine if your card, for example, your credit card or your bank card that you pay for your membership plugin license, maybe just the timing works out bad and the card expires just before the payment's meant to go out, and you pay a week later, but during that week your membership's just been locked up because the plugin is set up to totally freeze your whole website if your license isn't active. So you need to know stuff like that. You need to know about the type of support that's included in your license, whether any of the code's encrypted or whether there's any other specific technical requirements, whether there's anything else that maybe you think is included in your license that it'll then turn out you need to pay extra for. You need to dive deep into this sort of stuff, and this is where you're going to be able to take those 2 to 3 choices that you've narrowed down, having identified all your features and really kind of zeroed in on the 2 or 3 best fit plugins. These sort of questions are going to give you the information you need to make your final choice of membership plugin. I do hope that some of you guys have found this useful. Thank you so much to everyone who's been able to tune in for the Facebook Live. This is only the 2nd time of doing it, so hopefully there haven't been any hiccups. Hopefully it's been useful. And obviously any of you guys who watch on a replay or watch the recording, please do let me know in the comments below if you've enjoyed it, if you've found it useful, if you've had experiences of having to switch membership plugins or anything like that. But again, going back to my first advice, the one thing not to do is ask which is the best membership plugin. It simply doesn't exist. So I'm going to wrap up there. Thank you again so much. I have been Mike Morrison from themembershipguys.com. Really appreciate you taking the time out to watch this video, and hopefully we will be back pretty regularly if you guys do enjoy these Facebook Live sessions to dispense more proven practical tips and advice for membership site owners. Thanks so much, guys, and yeah, I'll catch you in our Facebook group, talkmemberships.com, or over on our own membership, membersiteacademy.com.